Welcome to Generation Movie on a Monday night. Rich Drees, how are you?
I
How
am
are
doing
things
okay.
going? I
Been a
am
crazy
doing okay.
weekend, but I found some time
You
to
guys have
watch a couple of things.
how's snow going up there?
Wilkes-Barre, Scranton, not hit too bad.
Oh,
About
okay. Well,
2 inches or so. Boston, New York is getting slammed.
that's good.
Honestly,
I mean,
it would have been nice if we got hit with more snow because I would have really loved to have had a work from home day today, just to just to give me a little bit
not
more
have
time to
to
sleep in
go.
the morning
Yeah,
instead of
just to
schlepping
not
out
have
like.
to. Yeah, I mean, it was very cold down here. Like it was
Oh no, it
unseasonably
got below
cold.
65.
We were in the high 40s.
Oh geez. Wow.
You shut your mouth. You shut your mouth, Richard. Okay, first things first. If
Talking
you
about
like our
Shaq.
show, yeah, if you like
Um
our show, please like and subscribe. Indie Escape Network, YouTube. We have Facebook. We have Instagram. We have Threads. We have TikTok. We have Twitter or whatever the sociopath's calling it this week. We're also on IMDb. We're also
we've got trouble right here in River City.
right here in River City. We're also, if you are an independent filmmaker and want to come on Loud and Nerdy, we're open to having you on and talking about your independent movie where it's playing on Tubi or wherever it's playing. Please join us. We had the good folks from Last Known Location on a couple weeks ago. It's been a really good episode, and we got a lot of things coming out. They have a great little show called Certifiable that they do, which is about two mental patients who think they're Hollywood starlets. I thoroughly enjoy it. And
Sounds like
basically it's
every other girl I ever met in a club.
well it's basically it's a high concept. Basically this doctor's running an experiment on whether or not these two women who believe they're starlets can bring all the other patients into their psychosis. And so it's really good. They're getting ready to do the second season. Jennifer Kay and Amy Teresa and Danny Donnelly working on that. So it's really good. I did the show with them and then I went and binge watched it. So Certifiable, it's on Tubi and a couple other places. Really, really fun. Really short episodes, 15-minute episodes. They have a stuffed animal that's to the girls as a living person. Anyway, it's fun. I like it very much. Also coming up this week, we have Loud Nerdy. No guests this week, but we'll have Twilight Zone Redux. We'll get at it. We'll get something out of Jerry's basement. Last week, Jerry pulled out Krull on VHS and Krull on Atari. On Atari, Rich. An Atari Krull cartridge. That prompted me.
Was it during the show that I kind of like saw something and dropped a message, or was it later where I said the year that Krull came out, its director was nominated for an Academy Award?
You sent it to me during the show, I think. But I didn't see it until after the show. I didn't see it till after the show, and I thought it was really funny. But the funny thing about it is, the mistake was that he was not nominated for Krull, Rich, because
I know it was for the dresser.
Krull is a gloriously bad film that upon repeat viewing, there's so many things being stuck to a wall, Rich, that I cannot get over it. Anyway, so I rewatched it this week. I think Joe watched it. I think Jerry rewatched it. And I think the kids from Last Known Location, because we got talking about it on their episode, I think they watched it too. So Krull had a good weekend. Fun. Also, other show coming up this week. I think the boys are back on Unaired and Unscripted. I think they're back this Thursday night with Ryan West and Joe. And then, we'll see what happens otherwise. Comments. Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening, Joe Ridgely. Good evening, friends. Good evening, Ken McKernan.
Joe.
Out Canada as well. Speaking of people not having good weekends, let's talk about GOAT for a second. So, first off, GOAT came in higher than expected first weekend, right? It came in higher than they expected. And then in the second weekend, it only dropped 38%, Rich, which
Not
is
bad. Not
that
bad at
is
all, actually.
pretty damn good. And Wuthering Heights dropped a staggering 57, although that's not bad either because it's a front-loaded women, lady picture, right? So 57 isn't too bad, but Goat beat Wuthering Heights this weekend. Pretty cool. I highly recommend Goat. It's a very good kid movie, like produced by Steph Curry. Very happy. It has Caleb McLaughlin from Stranger Things doing the voice of the goat. A lot of other really good, like Patton Oswalt's the coach. Like it's got a really great vocal cast. David Harbour, a couple other people. Like it's got a bunch of people. And it's a good story. It's about little engine that could, little goat guy playing a really tough sport against much bigger, scarier animals. So number one at the box office. Another thing that came up that's been box office trending recently, I can only imagine 2 came out. Now the first one shocked people when it opened. It grossed like $20 million in its opening weekend. This one did not fare so well, 7.7 million. So not great. But far better than other things that opened this weekend. Send Help dropped 50% in 5th place to 4.4. Crime 101 was at 5.5, so it's at 4th. How to Make a Killing, although, and this is an interesting little tidbit, How to Make a Killing, the A24 release with Glenn Powell, $3.5 million, only on 1,600 screens, though. Kind of a shocking thing. The Elvis Presley in concert movie made by Baz Luhrmann, that grossed $3.2 million on 300 screens. So pretty good. Zootopia 2, by the way, still in the top 10, and Avatar still in the top 10.
Yeah,
Zootopia,
I was looking at. I've had a fairly busy last couple of weekends. I haven't been out to see anything, so this evening I was like, okay, what am I getting out to this week to try to catch before it disappears? I really want to get to Send Help as a Sam Raimi fan. It's killing me that I haven't been to see it yet. Good. Also want to catch up with Crime 101. But I noticed that, Avatar was still, having a couple of showings a day at, not one, but more than one theater in our region here. And I was just like, that doesn't happen too often.
Do you know that Zootopia 2 has outgrossed Avatar? And like, I know this is a shock.
Or worldwide?
Both. Zootopia 2 is at 423 domestic, 1.4 billion international. So a total of 1.8 billion. And then if you look at Avatar is at 399. So it's a good 24 million behind. And then it grows 1.074 billion. So 1474. So Zootopia 2 is going to win this particular race by a lot, by almost $400 million, which is, I don't know that anybody had that on their bingo card when Zootopia 2 was coming out, but I think Zootopia 2 quickly has become a defining franchise for Disney. Like, I don't think you're going to see a stop to that franchise because I think it's, first off, they're making really good movies with really good, vocal, very good characters, very good voices. Also interesting stories. Like, they're fun, crimey. First one is LA Confidential for animals. Second one is, second one is almost Chinatown for animals.
Yeah, I would agree with you there.
You know what I mean? Like, and so they're just really fun. And I think you could, like, maybe we'll get a double indemnity for animals. Maybe we'll just do all the noir. Maybe we'll just do all the noir, that we can get.
They do the Maltese Falcon, but it's like the Maltese human. I don't know.
Oh my God, that'd be amazing. But I saw the other 2 movies that opened this weekend. How to Make a Killing was not great. And also Psycho Killer was not great. Like, by a lot. Like,
Let's go say.
Weird. That movie has been sitting around for almost 4 years. I did not know that when I went
What
to
a
see
shock.
it. Yeah. Well, and
That
the
it's
thing
not
is,
good.
it's got a weird. I don't know, Rich. I will tell you, I think it's got a lot more going on than it has to for a cat and mouse slasher movie. But I don't want to get into spoilers. I don't want to ruin it for anybody. I did enjoy some of the weird thing. Like, I didn't like that it wasn't all practical effects. I didn't like that it wasn't a lot of CGI and a basic rudimentary understanding of Satanism. Like, it's like Satanism from like the 80s panic Satanism. Like, we don't understand it. It's just there's a pentagram on the floor. We don't get it. How to Make a Killing is another strange animal. You know, it's a flat out remake of Kind Hearts and Cornets, which is a infinitely better movie.
True.
And the other thing is that I will say to you is, and this is the thing coming out of it, black comedies are hard. Dark comedies are hard, Rich. I think we had a bunch of really good dark comedies at some point in our film history, right? Where everybody thinks they can make them, right? Everybody thinks that, oh, I can be dark and witty and acerbic, and just it's not that easy to pull off. Lining up all your ducks in the right places, you know what I mean? And that's one of those movies that just misses by a little bit. But Glenn Powell's like, I fear for him because he's starting to get how you say.
Honestly, if somebody said to me as a actor on the rise, hey, we've got this not a remake of Kind Hearts and Coronets, and you know enough movie history, go, that's a really good movie. That's a really good story. Do I get to play all the relatives the way Alec Guinness did? And does he? Or not?
No.
Okay.
No, it's not. So where it really differ. What I will say, it has a really good cast. So like Zach Woods, it's got Topher Grace, it's got Ed Harris. It's got a really good cast. But I don't think we're ever going to mistake Glenn Powell for Alec Guinness. You know what I mean? Like, we're just not. It's not going to happen. and that's okay. You know what I mean? So they don't do that. That doesn't work. You know what I mean? Like, and the person I was with that saw it, his response was, it's too fucking dark. Like, it ends on a really dark turn, and like, you can count on one hand, Rich. Like,
well,
I feel I can count on
pretty much the
hand.
same ending then to Kind Hearts and Coronets.
No.
Oh.
No. It's a wonky ending. Like, it doesn't.
Okay.
It really doesn't work. Like, it doesn't work at all. You know what I mean? Like, you ever watch a movie and you're like, that is not the ending I wanted for these characters, and you sit back and you go, and it ends up making you hate the movie. Do you know what I mean? Like,
oh yes, yeah, I've been there a few times.
Yeah, I think that's it's just a wonky ending. It's I think it's the right ending they were going for. I don't think they were going for, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think they were going for anything where it was like, we're going for the super cool ending. I think, they just went with where they think that, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to give anything away. But it was one of those endings where you're just like, what the fuck? Like, what? Why? No. Like, because for the most part, like, it's a pleasant movie. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a pleasant movie for most of its running time, and it's like the death, like the differences between Psycho Killer and How to Make a Killing. The deaths are so stark. I put when I did the reviews on Friday, lots of murder this weekend at the box office. And it just doesn't work. Like it's fucking wonky. And it's the kind of wonky where you're like, oh, I don't like that at all. And the person I went to see it with was like, why would you end a movie like this? And I'm like, because I think they were trying to be, I think they were going for the Heather, like, you know what I mean? Like, I think they were going for the Heather's ending. You know what I mean? Like, and that's when I said to him, I'm like, the razor thin margin you have when you're making dark comedies. You know what I mean? Where it's like, where if you go too far, it becomes too morose, or you risk the audience just not enjoying themselves, like I don't, fuck this. You know what I mean? Like, and that's kind of where it is. It's one of those movies where you're just like,
yeah,
fuck it, you know? And so it just becomes one of those movies. But I will say, what I will say is I think the interesting thing is the box office is kind of like, it's bumping along. It's not great, but it's not horrible, right? So we're in a good spot as we approach March, because March, Rich, is loaded, right? Like the more I've been getting alerts all week about the idea of getting tickets for certain movies, right? And all of them, March looks like it's going to be gangbusters. Like
I'm hoping that the weather is nice and doesn't interfere with me getting out to the couple of screenings that I've already scheduled for the first couple of days of March, actually. You know the one.
The one I hate you for, but I mean, congratulations. But you don't deserve the good luck you get, Rich. You terrible person.
No, I don't. I am a terrible piece of shit.
Awful, just awful. But what I will say is, I think also, can I tell you one of the interesting things about what we're doing this year? The idea that we're doing these movies that are Best Picture winners, but they're not super good, is a weird. I'm in a weird spot. I feel weird doing it. And also, as I'm watching these movies, I'm not enjoying them. And they're not good. And not only are they not good, they're not fun to like. I was reading reviews, like looking at reviews for this movie where they called it a romp and a joyous fun movie, and I'm like, I don't fucking see it.
Well, first of all, we're at what, 95 years of Oscar history here. There's gonna be some clunkers, and I think it's important to remember. And this is going to be a recurring theme last week, this week, in the next episode. The Oscars aren't necessarily picking a classic for all time from that year. They're kind of taking a snapshot of that year, and and that's where their brains were then. So it's kind of like a window into what was happening in the Hollywood industry, as well as just
I read
people going to the movies and what they like.
Have you read anything that this movie was like, that there was some payola involved for this one? Have you read anything like that? Because I hit upon three or four articles where it's like the person that produced the movie put out some money for this movie, and I was like, that's like, you and I have watched a lot of Oscar ceremonies, and you and I, like, we've talked about campaigns, we've talked about how negative press can impact things, all of those things. This is one of the first times when I was doing research where there was like legit, like there was money that
people were paid.
The money exchanged hands.
That feels like,
I think it's sour grapes.
If that were true, it would be a much bigger thing. B,
well,
to start greasing the palms of individual voters to get enough votes for this, feels like feels like too much money that would need to be put
yeah,
out.
I mean,
And no one all these years later would actually come forward and say, yes, Mike Todd gave me a stack of cash to vote for his mediocre movie for Best Picture. And
yeah, I'm just saying, of all the research we've ever done on this show, this is the first one where I heard payola involved, and I have never heard payola involved. Okay, but before we get to this movie, I do want to do one other thing, an interesting thing that's come up. We are in the process of Warner Brothers being bought by Netflix.
Yes,
Netflix is notoriously anti-theater and anti-disc, anti-physical medium, right? I hit this
historically, shall we say?
Historically,
Ted Sarandos has been. May I?
Yeah. Yes.
Ted Sarandos has really, over the last couple of weeks, been doing a full court, media press on making the case for Netflix buying Warner Brothers, and basically saying we want to let them do what they continue to do. And it's not a case of we're going to gobble up Warner Brothers to destroy them in theaters. Blah. I don't get that vibe from this guy at all. And I'm very happy that he's come out and been saying this over and over. Great interview with him on The Town with Michael Bellany, the podcast last week. I would suggest people check it out. But yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was just like, but I feel like we have to kind of.
Yeah, no, historically he's been in the negative. What I found out today, something interesting. Do you know what these two movies have in common? This movie here, K-pop Demon Hunters. This movie here, Frankenstein.
Yes, I do know what they have in common.
What's the first thing they have in common?
That they're both from Netflix.
They're both streaming Netflix movies. One got a limited theatrical run. One didn't get a limited theatrical run, but then got a theatrical run after the fact it hit big and did very well in its very limited theatrical run. We're talking like $21 million for 3 shows on a weekend. Like crazy business. But do you know what the other thing they have in common now?
Oh, I do. And most likely they'll both be on the shelf with all my other Criterion Collection Blu-rays.
Yes, I was extremely happy about this, right? Because these are two movies I enjoyed thoroughly, and Netflix has been kind of anti-disc, anti-whatever. But the idea that the Criterion Collection are going to do Frankenstein, Del Toro's Frankenstein, and K-pop Demon Hunters, that they're being added to the Criterion Collection, they are two of the most acclaimed and most streamed movies of the year, right? They're two of the most popular movies of the year. And so
Netflix has done a few Criterion releases before. Roma springs to mind.
Power of the Dog. Others. Power of the Dog. The Irishman.
I keep hoping that they're going to do the other two Knives Out films, because I want all 3 of those on my shelf together.
The Netflix films that are part of the Criterion Collection are Roma, Cuarón's Roma, Scorsese's The Irishman, Jane Cameron's Power of the Dog, Noah Baumbach's Marriage Story, and Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. They also recently announced they're also doing a couple other movies that are out from this year. But this is a major, I think what you're saying, like the interview where he says, I'm going to leave them alone, or I'm going to leave Warner Brothers alone. Came out a couple weeks ago that Paramount had a new bid, and but from what I understood, everything I read, all it was Warner Brothers had to fiduciary explaining, right? Fiduciary responsibility explaining, had to go in and look at the other bid, not necessarily that they're going to accept it. They still think Netflix is the better place to go, right? And so I just find it interesting that Sarandos has won over, for every article I've read, right, for the most part, if you ask people at Warner Brothers, do they want to go with Paramount or do they want to go with Netflix? Resoundingly rich. It is now they want to go with Netflix.
Yeah.
Resoundingly.
Because if they go with Paramount, again, this is a case where Paramount would slash jobs because of redundancies. People would lose, you'd get 15,000 people out of work. And that's not an exaggerated number. That's a number based on what we saw with 20th Century Fox getting gobbled up by Disney. And another thing we saw when Fox got gobbled up by Disney, an incredible drop in the number of films that they were making and releasing.
Theatrical.
And theatrical films. And that's how many thousands of jobs per film. So, I think long-term economic impact in a industry that is struggling right now still to get a lot of production going, especially in Los Angeles, it's much better that Warner Brothers goes to Netflix, where there'll, to quote Ted Sarandos, be hardly any kind of cuts or anything at all. They're just going to kind of go, look, we know what we do. We do it really well. We want to expand our business to do what they do really well, and this is the best way to do it.
Yeah, and like I said, he is really, not only has he won them over, I think he's won me over. I'm watching him and realizing the K-pop Demon Hunters, making the deal with AMC so it gets to play at AMC theaters, not making the deal, so not necessarily getting the deal done quick enough to get Frankenstein to all theaters, but to enough theaters, you know what I mean? I think he might understand it a little bit better than the Ellisons, who I think are strictly in it. Like, it feels all politics. It feels
there is that political element with the Ellisons.
That's not good. Like, it doesn't feel right. Like, when was the last time something was taken over so quickly, has been destroyed so quickly, than CBS News? Like, I think that's part of the equation with Warner Brothers going, no, we'll take Netflix. Netflix seems better. We'll go with them. Because in less than 8 months since CBS has been acquired, it's
and Barry Weiss has been installed as the head of the news division.
Just a bad, like, although she did
I really want the zombies of like Edward R. Murrow and Walter Cronkite to rise up out of the graves and just like throttle Barry Weiss and rip her to pieces.
I will say,
the most slowly, agonizing way possible.
Let's feel bad for her, Rich. She had to fire Peter Attila, who she didn't want to fire for various reasons, and his shit was so awful in the Epstein file. She had to fire him today. So let's feel bad for Barry Weiss. And
she did one good thing. She got rid of an Epstein scumbag.
She didn't want to do it though. Like
the rest of,
she was forced. It was forced. But yeah, it's one of those things where it's, it's one of those things where it's, you just look at it and you're just trying to figure it out. And I just think Netflix is the safer way to go.
Okay.
I actually, the safer way to go would be like, Warner Brothers doesn't need to be sold. But
that's the platonic ideal.
Yes. But in a place where Warner Brothers is not sold, we have a movie called Around the World in 80 Days that we're doing tonight. Winner of 5 Academy Awards, nominated for 8. Let's get some comments and then we'll begin on this madness. U.S. gold medal winners in hockey. And congratulations to you, U.S. men.
Congratulations, ladies team.
The ladies team kicked ass, man. They were awesome. They got
speaking of ice skating, I don't know jack diddly and or squat about figure skating.
Yes,
but that Alyssa Liu free skate where she won the gold.
Yeah, fantastic.
That wasn't somebody skating to show off their skills. That was somebody skating just for the joy and love of skating. And
what makes it better is
I
her
found that
story.
incredibly moving.
Yes, but what makes it better is her story. Her father was a Tiananmen Square. Her dad was a Tiananmen Square protester who escaped China, came to the States, lived in California, did all kinds of odd jobs. So his little girl, like he raised his little girl, put her into skating, and she is the best skater. She is a gift from the immigration heavens. And, you know, just be happy. Be happy
Literally the
that
best
he came
skater
to
in the
our
world.
country. And the joy, and also the real interesting thing is, another thing about the female skating team, like the Olympic skating team, figure skaters, I've never seen a more happy group of women, just, you know, not competitive to one another, not cutthroat to one another, joyful about their team. Like there were videos backstage of them, like, you know, just totally screwing around like you would at work with another person, not with the Olympic. You know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of thing where you look at it and you go, joy, you know, and people who are nice to each other and people who take care of one another and compassion and joy. Very happy for everybody. Any Americans that won gold and did well. You know, it's a weird time because I'm proud to be in America, but I'm also, you know, scared. Anyway, another thing I'm scared of is
that's another thing.
another thing I'm really scared of is super long movies, Rich.
You know what? This wasn't even the longest movie nominated for Best Picture this year.
I understand that, but
that's what's crazy.
It is. This movie is just. I think it's now. I will say this. I think it's better than The Greatest Show on Earth, but not by much. Like it's not. It's not better by a lot. I think there are things about it.
Honestly, this
you
is a far more ambitious picture, and I think it hits its ambitions. But if I had to say just on like which movie I would watch again, I might watch Greatest Show on Earth again before this.
Neither.
If gun to my head, I had to pick one of the two.
I would pull the trigger. Like shoot. No. I pull the trigger. It's just they're both.
Welcome to Generation Snuff, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Well, it just we're Gen X. That is a Gen X answer. It's like gun to your head. Which movie do you watch? Around the World in 80 Days or Greatest Show on Earth? Pull the trigger. Just finish.
Well, that's just a general Gen X mindset to begin with.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That could be about any two bad choices.
So I the thing when I was looking at production for this, right? I will say the numbers are astounding, right? Like the numbers behind it are absolutely astounding, and you get them from all different places. You get them from David Niven's autobiography. You get them from, you get them from all these different places. So filming took place in 1955, August 9th to December 20th. That's a fast shoot, Rich. 75 days.
Can we take a moment and kind of backtrack and let's talk about Mike Todd for a moment, the producer of this movie?
Oh, yeah, we can. I was the story.
Born into a poor family in New York City, kind of rose his way up, became a Broadway producer. He's a slick talking guy, by all accounts. If he needed money, he could con it out of you fairly quickly. Wanted to go into movies, goes to Hollywood, tries his hand at doing like shorts and documentaries, doesn't work out for him. So he goes back, does some more Broadway. At one point, he had like 4 hit shows going at once, which, that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
He still kept dreaming about movies, and he wanted to do Around the World in 80 Days. And he had actually reached out to, oh gosh, Alexander Cordova, I think it was, the British producer. And he said, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. And Cordova was like, dude, I've been working on this for 10 years and I can't crack it. Don't even try. And I think that might have been the thing that got him motivated to actually, sit down, work on a script with Perlman. And, and they ultimately came together with this monstrosity that was going to be shooting around the world, as we're getting into now. But the guy was like apparently a showman and a monstrous force of nature.
Yeah,
I think that's the only way you get this movie made.
Right, a really interesting behind the scenes guy. You do also realize that he basically was looking at. He also had a version of this that was a musical by Orson Welles, which
oh gosh, that's right.
That's astounding when you think about the concept of Orson Welles writing a musical around the world in 80 days. And the fact, Rich, this movie could have been a 3-hour musical. It could have been worse.
But
it could have been.
What's funny is he pulled out from the Orson Welles project. Orson Welles got pissed off, and then he got even further pissed off when all these cameos started happening in the movie, which we're going to get to more on. And Orson never got called. And he was like, well, why didn't he call me? And he was kind of ticked off.
That's a shitty thing to do. But, that is a shitty thing
to
do.
But apparently by like 1966 or so, Orson forgave the guy because he wound up narrating a hour-long special on TV called The World, or I think it was The World of Mike Todd or something like that. And and he appears on camera to narrate the whole thing. And
Ridiculous Showman. Ridiculous Showman realize Ridiculous Showman game, right?
One other thing.
God.
One other thing before we do the get it too deep into the production, because it also relates to the production. When he was in Hollywood, he was also kind of like looking around and trying to break into the movies, and he got hooked in with the guys who were developing Cinerama, which was a ultra wide screen process that used 3 cameras and then 3 projectors. He thought that was ridiculous. He was like, guys, great idea, but technically it's a pain in the ass. So he sold his shares. He sold his shares in Cinerama, and then went off and talked to some doctor of optometry or light refraction, or like an engineer who deals with lenses and stuff, and says, how can we do this but with just one lens? And they perfected a new process, which, humble man that Mike Todd was, they called the Todd AO. AO being aspect ratio. Right, I don't know. Yeah, anyways, but Around the World in 80 Days is shot in that aspect ratio with those kind of proprietary cameras.
Yeah, the interesting thing is the first film that was filmed in it was Oklahoma, right? So Oklahoma was the first one, but they had to film it twice, one way and then an additional way for the 35 millimeter CinemaScope. But Around the World in 80 Days was the first film to be filmed simultaneously. And basically, the way the Todd AO ran was 30 frames per second, which was incompatible with every 35 millimeter standard of 24 frames per second. I was reading about this, and this made my head hurt, Rich. Like, just the concept that he was into Cinerama, and then he didn't like how Cinerama was, so he's like, well, we can do the prints, and then we can do them the same. And then, but basically he came up with a way, and this movie was the first where they didn't have to film 2 different versions simultaneously. They were able to split them and be able to do them each the right way. But numbers are where you get really kind of, for me, is where I was looking. I try to pick a story out from production where if it's not somebody fighting, because I love those. Although there are some fights on this that we'll talk about in a moment, particularly with some people who had drinking problems on the set. But filming took place in 55, August 9th, December 20th. Only 70. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Oh, okay. I think I know what you're referring to.
We're going to talk about it. It has to be talked about because David Niven talked about it. David Niven thought it was the funniest thing he'd ever seen. Anyway, so filming took place 75 days, not a lot. They produced 680,000 feet of film, edited down to 25,000 feet of film when the film was finished. It's still too much. It cost just under $6 million to make. It had
originally budgeted at $3 million now.
Yeah, well, 112 locations, 13 countries, 140 sets. And he made the bold proclamation that every set or every country that's in the movie was visited by the crew. So England, France, India, East Pakistan, now Bangladesh, Spain, Thailand, Japan, all visited. Extras, the cast, including extras. Rich, do you know how many people were in this movie?
I know. Well, let's see. There were 10,000 extras for the bullfight. So it's going to be a number north of that.
68,894 people in the cast. It also had 7,959 animals, including 4 ostriches, 6 skunks, 15 elephants, 17 fighting bulls, 512 rhesus monkeys, 800 horses, 950 burros, 2,448 American buffalo, 3,800 Rocky Mountain sheep, and the sacred cow that eats flowers on cue. There's also a cat at the Reform Club. The wardrobe department spent $410,000 to provide 74,685 costumes, 36,092 trinkets of some sort that each character had. It is the largest and most ever spent on, the largest amount of costumes ever required for a Hollywood production. The bullfight scene you're talking about, 10,000 extras, with Catinflas as the matador. He had done bullfighting.
Yes.
And he he looks great.
For people who don't know who Catinflas is, he was a very popular Mexican comic actor who just made movie after movie after movie. And by some accounts, at the time of his casting here in 1955, he was the wealthiest actor in the world.
Yeah, and also poetically called the Latin Buster Keaton or the Latin Charlie Chaplin, or had all kinds of cool things going for him. There's a biopic about him that came out in 2014. So he is definitely, that's what I put on my thing tonight. More Catinflas is needed because he's
the hero of the movie. He's the real hero of this movie.
Yeah, he's just a breath of fresh air. But
when we get there, I have a few thoughts about him and Niven's, and an interesting parallel I don't think you will expect.
Okay, so Niven's an interesting case. Niven wanted the role from the get-go, right? So he gets cast almost immediately, and basically he talks to Todd and says, Todd offers him the role, and Niven says, I would have done it for nothing. And he later admitted being grateful that Todd basically didn't hold him to, I would have done it for nothing. Todd,
too late.
The fight we're talking about, Todd and Robert Newton, who would become the detective, Detective Fix. Niven in his autobiography basically said the part was offered on the condition that he did not drink any alcohol during the filming, and that his celebration following the completion of his role, falling off the wagon for this role, basically he died right after the filming ended. So he was an alcoholic man who gave up drinking for the shoot because Todd said, you can't have the role unless you stop drinking, Mr. Newton. And then after the shoot, he went on a bender that killed him.
He got his martini shot, went out and shot a lot of martinis. And,
and so it's a
shame. It's a shame because I liked his performance here, and would have been nice to see some more. He has a long career before this, but
yeah, it's a very I don't like this. This is one of the rare films that we're going to talk about later. The performances are all fine, but they're not. There's nothing jumping out, and it is one of the rare Best Picture nominees of all. Like to have no actors nominated, nothing, no acting categories, no. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. Nobody got nominated from this movie. And it's an odd thing, but I can understand it. You know what I mean? Like you watch the movie and it's like, they probably could have you probably could nominate Catinflas as both. He could have been a lead or he could have been supporting actor. The production actually, when they went to different countries, he was the most important person on the set. Right? He was the most like
his character is the most important, but I don't think you would nominate. I can't see a studio nominating him in lead when they have Niven right there.
No,
because
no.
They've just like Niven.
And this isn't to say that Niven isn't good or anybody that is in the movie isn't good. It's just it's a weird coincidence that this movie gets nominated for 8 Academy Awards and nobody from an acting category. It's one of the rare occurrences when you go back through the 95-year history of Oscar, Rich, where a Best Picture doesn't have a single performance in it that people go, that was one of the 5 best performances of the year. It's a rare occurrence. It's much more rare than you actually think. I was looking it up today. It's very hard to find anything like it. So let's also talk about the idea that they bought a balloon. Like one of the most expensive things they bought was a balloon, and that basically they did the balloon scenes in a 160-foot crane that both Niven and Catinflas were not thrilled with because they were so far up in the air that they were super like David Niven apparently had a huge fear of heights. So it's weird all the way around. There's another story that goes along the lines of Shirley MacLaine gets cast as an Indian princess in this movie, which again doesn't age well. She's fine in the movie. It doesn't age well.
I think there's a lot in that India segment that does not age well.
Does not, well,
and that's even leaving out the
India's,
standard
like,
British racism towards.
We're gonna talk about it in a second. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna get it out there. But there's a ton of stuff in the India segment where it's like, you realize Steven Spielberg's grown up in the 50s, right? So we did The Greatest Show on Earth. I'm going to bring up the fact that in the middle of the India segment, there is a British soldier who's in the red outfit. And all I could think of was that little Steven Spielberg sitting in a theater somewhere going, I want to know more about this thuggy cult. And like,
oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So we'll talk about that in Legacy, but Shirley MacLaine was offered the role a dozen times, some like ridiculous number of times, and basically it all like she kept on turning it down, and then eventually got to the point where she accepted it, and she didn't want to do it, but it got to the point where she had to. Also, I need to point out, like in the production notes, the Indian sequence. There's also an Indian, like Native American Indian sequence that is not great either. Where there's 650 Indians in the scene of basically a fight on the train in the Wild West of America. Many people were indeed Indians, but a lot of them were Hollywood extras. But every single one of them, whether they were real, like Native American or not, were colored with a skin dye. They used 50 gallons of an orange-colored dye for those extras. That was not good for those people. It's a weird production note, Rich, where you're just like, they put a chemical to make people look more Indian for the scenes in the Wild West when they had Native American actors and other actors but they use the dye on everyone.
Mm-hmm.
It's fucking weird, Rich.
It's this is what it is.
It's not
let's
great.
Let's call it what it is.
Okay. Let's progress. I will say the numbers are astounding when we get to the next part. So the numbers are astounding all around this movie, but the biggest number is $6 million production budget, and then the box office, Rich. This movie in 1956 grossed $42 million. Now, here's where it gets really crazy. Film premiered on October 17, 1956 at the Rivoli Theater in New York City. It played in that theater for 15 months.
Mm-hmm.
It ran for 102 weeks at the theater, 1,564 performances, 2,173,238 patrons. It topped Variety's monthly box office chart for 7 months during 1957. When Todd died, 18 months after the film had opened, it had grossed $33 million. And this is after the fact where he was kind of being chased down during production for debts, considerable debts that he had made along the way. Now, here's where it gets...
He was known to go to the horse track every now and then, and this was just as big a bet. And
so
it paid.
It's an astounding number, Rich, and they didn't have it. We use the numbers as the numbers.com as a great way to figure out numbers. They didn't have it, but I did my own calculations. What would a movie that grossed $42 million in 1956, what would be the box office for adjusted inflation for today? What would it be in 2026?
Ridiculous. I mean,
over $500 million. A $500 million movie. Domestic. Because we're not even talking about it traveling around the world. So around the world in 80 days, we don't even have an international gross on it. Because it was in Cinerama and because it was in the Todd AO, it didn't really travel around the world, which is an astounding, the movie about going around the world didn't go international at the box office.
Because some places just didn't have the right technology to protect.
They didn't have the right tech. They did, and so it's an odd thing. But 42 million translates to about 500 million domestic. And we were just talking about it. Zootopia is right at 499. So it's a hit in the scope at the time it came out as Zootopia is today. You know, the Zootopia movie that's been playing since November in theaters and still playing and in the top 10, even though it's available to buy at home. That movie is just coming upon the number that this movie had. It's an incredible amount of money. And then, once you couple that with it playing at one theater for 15 months, it's a story of legend. And the kind of thing where you sit back and you go, well, first off, things aren't like that anymore. And secondly, the idea that a theater would be happy playing this movie and that they had people showing up, 2 million people showed up to that theater during the 15 months, 2 million people. It's the stuff of legend, Rich. You know what I mean? Again, a very popular movie. Critical response then and now. Let's talk.
People liked it.
People loved it. I didn't. For no reason really. The real funny thing is I think I like the genre. I love whimsical, race movies. A personal bad fave is like The Great Race with Jack Lemmon. You know what I mean? I like wacky racers. You know what I mean? I like all of it. This movie though, except for Catinflas, it just sits there. It's like
you're oh god, yeah.
You know what I mean?
For a story about moving, it's incredibly inert. And
It's
it
slow.
feels like
It's heavy.
we went everywhere, and you're going to see every frame of footage we shot. There's long shots of the
Train
balloon.
tracks. Long
And-
shots of the balloon. Like, I have some for you. Hold on. I have some.
Okay.
Long shots of the balloon. Like, just that takes forever. Then then they're like, he's reading how to use the balloon. So there's even a sequence, Rich, where he's reading the instruction manual. It's crazy.
The Indian attack is just not exciting.
Nothing is exciting. The movie drags. Like, it just
the bull fight sequence is okay, but I think it's badly shot. It's just like stick a camera far away from all the action and squint, and maybe we'll see something.
Well, it's like the opposite. Like, I was trying to think of like we're going to talk about legacy in a second, and I think filmmakers saw this movie and realized how it's just superfluous. It's just like a movie that is just there, and it doesn't want to excite you. It's look at what we did. It's like a Gold Star camp theater production. You know, like, it's just with star talent, because Catinflas is really good. And there are really great sequences, like with him, where he's in a bar or like, and he gets drugged and he gets put on a train. He meets Peter Lorre. Like, there are sequences that work, but far too many of them fall flat.
I think Shirley MacLaine does a great job for this being her third film.
Yeah, no, I have no problem with anybody. Like, I have no problem with David Niven, although he's the British gentleman that is not, like, he's the opposite of a cool British gentleman. He's like, I want my dinner at 8:24. If I don't bring it at 8:23, don't bring it at 8:25. Like, and you're like sitting there going, David Niven is one of the greatest comedic actors and most charming, charismatic, debonair actors. And he is not given a lot to do, except
it's a void of a character, really.
Yeah, Phil. We're calling the episode tonight the Phileas Fogg episode, and I was sitting there, and he's the least interesting character in it. Like, and it should be exciting. It should be like, even the reveal towards the end, where they get back to England and he thinks he lost, but he got the princess, so he's happy. But he really wanted to win the bet, and then Catinflas goes outside and he gets a paper, and it should be more exciting. It should be like a race to get to the club and win the bet. But even that's like a fucking, like, it's just terrible. Like, he walks in like right as the clock strikes, and you're like, there's no flourish to it. And then Catinflas comes in through the window, and that's a flourish. But he's already won the bet. Like, it's just weird. It's like, it's a movie. It's a movie of all these. Go ahead.
There's a part of me that's like, okay, if we're going to give him any sort of a character arc at all over the course of this journey, it could be that he learned that it's that kind of like strict adherence to schedule, and maybe even just being a rich person is not good enough unless he found love, though, with Shirley MacLaine. And that should be, you know what? It doesn't matter. I've met this woman. I'm happy. We're going to get married. It's going to be great. I'm going to have a great life. Oh, wait, no, I could still win the bet? Oh, fuck that then. I'm going to go win the bet. There should be a rejection of that.
There's a weird thing that happens also
in high society and all that. Just say, screw all those snobs, unless he rolls in and goes, ha, I win, give me my money, I'm out. But we don't even get that.
No, and
I just feel like he doesn't learn anything.
Yeah, and it's just this weird. It's
and that's
the
a
weird.
fault of I think that's a fault of the source material. Sorry, Mr. Verne, but
yeah, no, I think it's just like you then you have the cameos, right? Let's talk.
Okay.
You have I put up the picture of Marlena Dietrich. Phenomenal, amazing, incredible.
And George Raft.
And George Raft.
Let's not forget Mr. Raft.
And let's not forget Frank Sinatra's playing on the ivories. It's fantastic. It's a great little bunch of cameos. But it's also like
great.
What?
How they keep cutting to the back of the piano player's head, the back of his head, the back of his head, and then finally the last shot of that whole.
He turns around. He's got a cigarette in his mouth.
It's him turning around and right in the camera face.
Yeah, it's glorious 50s Sinatra, and like I said, but those things are few and far between. Like there's Victor McLaglen plays a guy on a boat, and it's beneath Victor McLaglen. You know what I mean? Like it's beneath him. But the movie has so many cameos. I was going through the cameos, right? It becomes a cameo movie. A few of them work really well. Buster Keaton's pretty good as a train conductor. Victor McLaglen does very little with what he's doing. Glynis Johns is fantastic as a bet. She's making a bet with her friend
Hermione Greengold. Yeah, that's Hermione Greengold from Music Man.
Right. The other one that jumped out, Red Skelton, is a drunk at the saloon in San Francisco. It's fantastic. It's just him and Catinflas playing off each other, feeding each other pickles.
They're both ostentiously clowns.
Yes,
and
two
that's just two
world-class
clowns
hams
playing, and they're fantastic. I think that's fantastic.
It's a great scene. But that's the thing. The scenes that are energized make the scenes that are not energized look fucking horrible, Rich. They look and feel terrible. And when they don't have the energy of Catinflas doing the bullfight, or Catinflas and Red Skelton eating tiny pickles, it's the most bizarre.
Or Catinflas rescuing the maiden, or Catinflas doing all the heroic things while our stoic British aristocrat stands around and just goes, "Hey, what is he doing?" Catinflas is the hero of this story. Phileas Fogg is the lead, but and here's where I'm going to blow your mind.
God,
where else? This reminded me of another movie in which the abstentious lead doesn't do much. It's this sidekick who does all the heroic stuff.
It reminds me of a TV show. I went TV show.
Okay, what are you thinking?
I went Green Hornet.
Okay. I went something probably a little similar.
I went 60s Green Hornet because 60s Green Hornet has Bruce fucking Lee, right?
That's true.
And Kato is far more interesting than the Green Hornet in every conceivable way on that show, right?
I went with a movie where the sidekick is far more it doesn't get a whole lot of thing outside of doing all the hero work. I'm talking Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that works too. That does work.
Right.
Well,
yeah.
That totally works. The interesting thing there is not only, the interesting thing there is that Jack Burton is a complete buffoon in every way. Everything he does is totally wrong.
Yeah.
So David Niven, but it's similar, and but the problem is, for me, in watching it, if it's a 3-hour movie, it's got to hold my attention. And some scenes were great, but some drag, some drag, and you're like, when is this sequence going to end? When are we going to get to the next? There's a whole sequence on a boat that's just this weird. They run out of coal in the middle of the ocean, and they start ripping the boat apart. It's like he buys the boat so that he can rip it apart, and then he gives the boat back, and it's like, of course people think you stole money from the bank, dude. You're just burning through money. it becomes a slog as
That's
opposed to it becomes a slog as opposed to a joyous romp. Like when I was looking at some of the critics' reviews, right? Because as I'm wont to do, I do like how films are reception. So it was all over the place for this movie. A sprawling conglomeration of refined English comedy, giant screen, travel panoramics, and slam bang keystone burlesque. Bosley Crowther, they've commandeered the giant screen and stereophonic sound as though they were Olsen and Johnson turned loose in a cosmic cutting room with pipe organ in one corner and all the movies ever made to toss around. Time magazine in the 50s called it brassy, extravagant, long-winded, and funny, and the Polyphemus of productions.
They were writing with long-winded.
Well, Polyphemus, by the way, for you folks who are not up on your Greek mythology, of course, the one-eyed son of Zeus, the Cyclops son of Zeus, Polyphemus. I don't even understand the concept of Polyphemus, except that he's a giant. Is that what we're going for? It's a travelogue around the world, at least as spectacular as anything Cinerama has slapped together. Now, the interesting thing there is that review references Cinerama movies at the time, Rich, were like things that play at Disney World now, called like a thing called Soarin', where they're giant travelogues showing you different versions of the world, like all over the place. And Cinerama had those kind of showings.
It was very specifically a film called This Is Cinerama, which is like a 2-hour demo reel.
What I would also see there is that movie is probably better than this movie. Like, I don't mean it disrespect. It is, if you look at Rotten Tomatoes, 72% on Rotten Tomatoes, undeniably shallow, but its cheerful lack of pretense, as well as its grand scale and start to cast, help make Around the World in 80 Days charmingly lighthearted entertainment. It's not fun, though. It's like, Rich, it's not fun.
And yet, it gets
again. There are segments that work. I don't want to say it's totally a diss, but there are segments. Like I said, the one that stood out to me the most, because I remember doing stage work where I played a clown on stage. The sequence with Red Skeleton and Catinflas had me laughing hysterically, because they're doing two things you're not supposed to do on screen, which is eat, and they're stuffing everything in their face. Red Skeleton at one point, I think he has 4 eggs in his mouth, and he's still pulling it off, like it's still working. Catinflas then gives him just a piece of a pickle. It's not even full pickle, Rich. And I was laughing at that. And then there's this, like, David Niven walks up, and immediately all the fun that's being had over here, David Niven goes, "Stop eating the chicken." And the scene just ends. It just fucking ends. There, it also has George Raft is in that sequence as well, where he throws a fucking knife at Catinflas, who's hitting on Marlene Dietrich, who looks hotter in this movie than she's ever looked in, almost like in her movies, right? And so, like, there are fun things, but there's like a weird sequence, like the Wild West sequence is not good. It's overtly racist because they dyed people orange. India sequence is even worse because we're talking, we don't understand Indian culture at all.
And so obviously, let's go right to human sacrifice.
Human sacrifice because her husband died. Fucking weird. Yeah. And again, I will say to you, Rich, the funniest thing I got out of that sequence, the Indian sequence, aside from like this weird kind of like Bridge on the River Kwai quasi thing going on there, like a weird, you know what I mean? Like, just, we don't understand any of the natives. But also, like, the thuggy thing gets brought up to the general. The general brings up the thuggy cult, and again, as an Indiana Jones person, all I could think of, thuggy cult. Where's Moldaram? Yes!
When are we going to see some monkey brains being eaten, baby?
See some monkey brains, maybe some snake surprise. I too have learned of the thuggy cult. So but for whatever hopes I had, like they're quickly dashed, and like most of the reviews currently, right, are that it's an overblown monstrosity. Like it's an unwieldy kind of like.
But what's funny about that thing though is this movie is literally 3 hours and 2 minutes long, and there are 2 films out of the 4 films it is nominated with that are longer.
They're all, but wait, this is a new segment we've done with these particular.
Let's transition over to. Yep.
What did this film beat for Best Picture, Rich? Here we go.
Here we go.
Boy. Here we go. Friendly Persuasion. Gary Cooper, a very pleasant movie, very well done movie in every conceivable way. It's a William Wyler movie.
Cannes that year. And it's 137 minutes. So 2 hours, 17 minutes.
2 hours, 17 minutes. Okay, how about this one, Rich? This one's one of the greatest cult movies. Like, I am shocked at this, Rich. This movie called Giant, George Stevens.
Yes.
A little movie starring Elizabeth Taylor, Rock Hudson, and James Dean in one of his 3 performances about oil wells in Texas. A phenomenal movie in every conceivable way.
Minutes long, so it's longer than our topic.
But I remember it being a lot more easy to watch. I remember when my dad. Do you remember when? First off, the James Dean movies were not available for a long time, and then in the mid '80s, early '90s, they did a James Dean box set. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
With it was like a really cool box set. It had Giant and East of Eden and Rebel Without a Cause in it, and it was just one of the greatest things ever. So that movie's long, but appreciated. How about this movie, Rich? This is another movie that it beat. Ready?
So it said, so it should be done. The King and I.
Just so we're clear, The King and I is one of the greatest musicals ever made, and it's a tremendous performance. Not just like Yul Brynner's great. But I always look at when you're in a movie called The King and I, and Yul Brynner's great as the king, and everybody talks about Yul Brynner as the king. I always look at the other actor involved, and Deborah Carr is fantastic in it. She's great as Anna, right?
Mm-hmm.
The person that's hired to teach the kids.
This is the shortest of the 5 nominees at 135 minutes.
Yeah, 2 hours, 15 minutes.
Yep.
Decent time length.
And I will say, I like King and I a lot. I've played the book on trumpet for a high school production. It's a lot of fun to play. But it does have some problematic stuff in there as well.
Yeah, yes. But again, like the 3 movies we've talked about already are, to me, even with their problems, better movies than Around the World in 80 Days. Yeah, true or false?
I have not seen Friendly Persuasion, but the other 2, yes, I would agree with you.
I think you'd like Friendly Persuasion. I was reading about it. It's about the Quakers. It's
really
decent, inherently decent movie. Okay,
might be a good double feature to watch with The Testament of Anna Lee, which just came out last year.
Yes. So. Now this is the one that. Well, I have 2 left. Just so we're clear, I did go into a deep coma, realizing what year this movie won Best Picture for. So I also found one that I think we do need to talk about. It also beat this movie called The 10 Commandments. Cecil B. DeMille's The 10 Commandments. You know, the movie that's still on every Easter. You know.
The longest of the 5 nominees at 220 minutes.
Yeah, it's almost
3 hours and 40 minutes.
Yeah, it's almost 4 hours. But the 10 Commandments, it's a spectacle movie that never loses its spectacle, right? It's got Parting the Red Seas. It's got the fucking, the fucking 10 Commandments being hurled at a golden bull. It's got Heston. It's how did this Cecil B. DeMille movie lose when the greatest show on earth won? This is a question for the ages. It's like he already got his. Fuck him. Like, because think about it. We were talking about it, 52. He wins for the greatest show on earth because he's 70. Because they don't think he's going to make it to the next one. Then 4 years later, he makes the 10 Commandments, which is widely regarded as one of the greatest biblical epics ever made. But that movie doesn't fucking win, Rich. That is fucking crazy. That is nuts. And it's also why I also started to believe that maybe there was a payola involved. Anyway.
There is a couple of interesting little notations about this entire class of Best Picture nominees, though. One,
go ahead.
This is the first year in Academy history that all 5 Best Picture nominees are in color.
Oh, in color, yes.
Yes. And also, Around the World in 80 Days is only the second widescreen film to win Best Picture. And can you name the first widescreen film to win?
Jesus Christ, Rich, why are you putting me on the spot? Can you give me a year?
Well, this is 56. Widescreen was only around for very little time, so probably the year before.
55. What one of 55?
I'll tell you, it's black and white.
It's a widescreen black and white movie?
Yep.
I want to say Sunset Boulevard.
I'm sorry, it was from 54. Excuse me.
54. I still want to say Sunset Boulevard because it's wrong.
It's a good guess, but it was On the Waterfront, Charlie.
On the waterfront. Okay, so we also had a movie that wasn't nominated for the last one, and I think I'm going to do it for every one of these. But this is the one that I'm going to do, and I would be remiss to not think of my father. This movie was not nominated for Best Picture in 1956. And
that's a big pile of insanity.
That's an egregious, it is an egregious error of epic proportions. John Ford was nominated for Directors Guild, but not nominated for Best Director. And when I say this, and I say this with all due diligence, it's probably the greatest Western ever made. It's certainly John Wayne's best Western. Although he has other Westerns with Ford that are incredible. But the idea and concept that The Searchers wasn't nominated for Best Picture is first off, it's an egregious thing because it's now it's AFI Top 100. It's it went, Rich, I was looking at, because this brought out my Searchers bend on for me. It came out in 56, so we could theoretically do it as it's celebrating its 70th anniversary, so we could do it at some point in the future. But The Searchers, some interesting tidbits about The Searchers. It's one of those movies where the idea that it wasn't nominated for Best Picture is crazy to me. The AFI 100, first time the AFI 100 occurred, it was 96. They did a 10-year anniversary of the AFI 100. It went from 96 to 12 over the course of 10 years. So the idea that in 2000, when they did the AFI 100, it was at 96, and then people started fucking watching it. And then when they went back to all the people with the AFI 100, 10 years later, it was at 12.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they did the AFI genre list, it's the number one Western. So the concept that it's not even, and I don't know what you drop out. maybe Around the World in 80 Days. It's just
Yeah.
it's surreal to me. And if you've never seen The Searchers,
There's another film that I was surprised wasn't nominated this year. It's maybe because it's a bit of a favorite of mine. But The Lady Killers.
Yes,
But again,
also
Sir Alec Guinness coming up for a second time. This being mentioned
this
a second time in
episode,
this podcast, and we're not even talking about Star Wars.
we're not even talking about Star Wars.
And he
But
was
yeah,
on, and he was in
that's
Bridge Over
another
the River
weird one.
Kwai
Like
too. So,
that's another but remember, like, one of the things that held the Academy back from it, like the five rule nomination rule held the Academy back from doing it. But the idea, like, I don't know what you drop those two movies off for, but The Searchers has to be nominated for Best Picture. Like, it's an egregious error. And then the only thing I can look, like, I can't take off 10 Commandments, I can't take off The King, and I can't take off Giant. I maybe could take off Friendly Persuasion.
I mean,
maybe.
I mean, it's a good moral dilemma movie. But at this time, though, in the mid-50s, the movie industry is starting to fight for its survival against
with
television.
Yes.
So you want those big picture films to be big spectacles. So yeah, maybe you lose Friendly Persuasion out of this equation. Didn't mean to make that rhyme. And
Persuasion equation.
Yeah. And you put in a big broad epic western like The Searchers. And under my own thesis just now, yeah, Lady Killers probably doesn't get in.
But again, maybe you drop The King and I for Lady Killers. But I think one of the things that I do notice about these two we've looked at two films in the 50s, two sets of Best Pictures in the 50s, right? One of the things that I do notice that is totally different from the Oscars that you and I deal with every year today is there was a showmanship and show business component of Best Picture, right? Like, there is what are the popular movies? What are the movies that people love? And I do think that's an interesting reason why maybe folks have lost touch with the Oscars, not in a bad, like, not like you and I, but like regular folks. We've gotten to the point where we nominate a lot of movies, but some of them, like, some movies people haven't even seen that win, like Shape of Water. You and I love because we like Guillermo del Toro, and we love Creature from the Black Lagoon, and we understand what he was doing, and it's an interesting movie, and the lady fucks a fish, and we love it. It's daring. It's a horror film. It's amazing. But not everybody's seen it. And one of the things that I think is noticeable in these 50s movies with the nominations and with the movies that won, they are popular, they are huge, and they're meant to be seen on a big screen, right? And I think, in a way, the interesting thing for us as we go through this thing with, like, legacy and everything, the idea that the Academy got away from rewarding the movies that everybody loves at a regular basis, right? Movies getting nominated that were super popular. And they're now, we find, in the mid 90s, we get the Miramax factor, right? Where every movie is like whatever niche kind of like low budget indie movie. You know what I mean? Like, it's a weird thing that we're looking at, as opposed to what we see on a regular basis at the Academy Awards, up until the point where they elaborate out to 10, and then we start getting more popular movies.
I would also argue, though, that I think part of the push for this movie was the fact that they did do all this globe hopping, and they went everywhere and shot shit ton and a half of film. And it's a cast of literally thousands. It's an achievement award for mastering this beast of a movie. This movie that doubled
no doubt
expected production budget and everything else. And everybody was just like, they brought it over the finish line. Fuck it. They get the award. It kind of limped across the finish line. It's not super great, but people seem to like it.
With you.
But
also, the popularity doesn't hurt it. You know what I mean? The idea that it's
no.
So fucking popular.
I mean, those are all different ingredients going into the stew.
Here's a legacy that I want to give you. We hit on legacy a little bit. The Green Hornet, Kato, Jack Burton, and the Asian character from Big Trouble in Little China. One of the other legacies of this movie is, I think somewhere David Lean sees this movie and says, I'm going to shoot a movie that's panoramic and on a big screen, and I'm going to make the scapes as invigorating as possible. Because one of the things about this movie, I think it's an anti-influence. I think once this movie wins Best Picture, I think people, it's popular, but then again, it's not also another one of those movies that's not popular on television, right? Right? It's just like Greatest Show on Earth. Mm-hmm. It's not popular on television, so that it never gets to cult status, right? But I think somewhere the filmmaker saw it and said, yeah, you can make a movie that looks like Around the World in 80 Days, but can you put stuff in it that's compelling? And I think Lawrence of Arabia is one of the legacy parts of this movie, because there are things with the way things are shot, and I think David Lean gets them and says, not only can I shoot that, I can also make it way more compelling. Right? Like, I don't know. It's just how I felt after watching it today, where I was just like, there's got to be somewhere that went, how do we make it better, though? Like, not just a travel log. But that's Around the World in 80 Days. It was, I don't know. These are two movies that make me lose, like. But the interesting thing is, it doesn't make me lose my love for the Oscars. It makes me realize how much Oscars have changed over the years, right? Like,
and I dare say,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think people saw how much money this movie made, so of course they wanted to do their imitators. So we saw things like Magnificent Men and Their Flying Machines, something kind of in that Victoriana era that involved running around in shenanigans and an all-star cast. The Great Race. The Great Race is the Daring Young Men and Their Jaunty Jalopies from '69.
Actually, that's true. Also,
The Great Race, yeah.
Even Wacky Racers, where people are racing around the globe, cartoon characters, Muttley, you know what I mean? Like, it's got similar vibes to this movie. You know what I mean? Like, how do we win? How do we win the bet? It's, the other ones that I brought up also, Rich, I don't know if you feel the same way, but the other movies I was thinking about when I was watching this, but they're a lot more fun, of course, are the Cannonball Run movies, filled with cameos, all about a race, all about a bet.
Gumball Rally, then you have to toss that in.
Yeah, no, all of them. I think they're all descendants. They all have this movie's DNA in them, right?
Oh yeah, even though Gumball Rally and then Cannonballs are all based on an actual event,
right?
That happened.
I'm talking more like,
but yeah.
Around the World in 80 Days is like the.
But yeah, the approach though.
Right, Cannonball Run,
like
fun, whimsical, lots of cameos, lots of stars that you recognize, and you're like, holy shit, what's Telly Savalas doing here? Holy shit, what's Sammy Davis Jr. doing here? You know what I mean? Like,
those bleeds.
Holy shit, why is Adrienne Barbeau's suit so low? I mean, I know why. You know why, but
I don't need an explanation. I'm good. Happy it's happening.
Just happy it's there. But yeah, that's it. That's all I got. What else you got? Anything?
I got my notes nothing. I will say this. I don't think it's out on Blu-ray, but when they put the movie out on DVD, they did a really damn good job They split the movie across 2 discs because of the intermission, which also left more room on each disc for information to make sure the picture's pretty darn good, even on my high def TV. There's an introduction by Robert Osborne of Turner Classics.
that's nice.
So it's always nice to have some Robert Osborne. There's a bunch of here's some footage from the premiere at the Rivoli in New York. Here's some footage. Here's just some raw footage of the premiere in Los Angeles. Here's a 50-minute documentary from 1969 on Mike Todd that I had referenced.
Do you know they celebrated the anniversary of the movie 1 year later on television? They did a TV special.
They have about 40 minutes of that footage here from Playhouse 90.
And then
on this disc.
Another thing we'd be remiss to not mention, and it's something that even if you don't watch the entire 3-hour movie, you should find a way to watch. The credit sequence by Saul Bass is one of the greatest things. It's in many ways better than the actual movie. I'm serious, man. It's inventive. It's clever. It's well done. It gives every character gets their own little like emoji. It's special. But that's all I can say. And that the idea that we're going to get great credit sequences from Saul Bass going, continuing on after this is also something that needs to be mentioned.
But you don't get care like this as much as you used to for a home video release. Shout Factory, Arrow, the Criterion Collection, those kinds of the boutique labels will certainly bust their ass to give you something great. But yeah, physical media.
Is that an anniversary edition? Is it an anniversary edition?
I don't think so. 2-disc special edition, and then it has the little thing about won some Academy Awards.
Yeah, usually the old like the studio days when they were doing DVDs, the anniversary editions were always very nice. You know what I mean? But so we move on from this movie.
Home video really on their game that day.
We move on from this movie. We go back in time. We go back. So we're gonna do one more, maybe some more, but right now this is what we have in our chart. Where did I put it? There it is. This is our last movie. Thus far, Going My Way, a Paramount picture, Barry Fitzgerald, Bing Crosby. Where do we get into it's a good movie, but where do we get into what it beat? It's like one of the things that's coming out of this particular set of shows for us, Rich, is how the hell did this happen? That's where I'm at for some of the, how the hell did this happen? But this is a very good movie. Bing Crosby's great in it. Barry Fitzgerald is great in it. It's just, it's a trifle. It's minor. It's minor compared to the movies it beat.
Comparatively, yeah.
We'll be talking about Going My Way next week. Rich, where can people find your work? What are you working on? What's going on when you're not on our show talking about movies?
I have kind of been slacking off on the writing in the last couple of weeks due to taking care of some other things going on. But ratcheting back up, I am not sure if I will have it ready for whatever day it is later this week that it premieres. But season 2 of Monarch, Legacy of Monsters, is beginning on Apple Plus. I've seen the entire 10-episode run already. It's pretty good. If you like the King Kong, you're definitely going to want to tap in for the first couple of episodes, the first episode or two. If you like the first season, it's more of the same, just a lot of fun with people trying to figure out monsters and humans all being bickery idiots and faced with giant disasters like this. I'm trying to put together a couple of more things that I'll have later on out later on Filmbuff Online, which is where I have all my writing. You can follow us on Facebook to get notified when when those things do get published. I have a couple of socials accounts, all for me. That's as Filmbuff Rich, and you can find those on Twitter, Threads, and the Blue Sky.
So, JW the Movie Guy, Facebook, Twitter, Blue Sky, Threads, whatever X or whatever the Twitter, whatever the maniac's calling it this week. We're on IMDb as well. You can like us, like the India State Network on Facebook, TikTok, IMDb, Instagram. We're a place where where creatives unite, and we're trying to make that happen for everyone. We're also a place where film history happens. But you can also see my other show, Loud and Nerdy, which is more of a pop culture fun, crazy talk, fighting about things. We'll be talking a little bit about something Rich and I were talking about last week. I got to tell you, Rich, one thing we didn't hit upon, but I'm going to hit upon for you again. I got to tell you, after the new Mandalorian and Grogu trailer, I'm not worried anymore. I'm good. I feel great.
Okay.
I feel fantastic. Yeah. If we're just going to go into a movie that they're out hunting down people for Sigourney Weaver, yes. The answer is yes. Yes. Go get them. Go get them, kids. And
Sigourney Weaver asked me to do anything. I will rob a bank for that woman.
If Sigourney Weaver's asking you to hunt down aliens, you hunt down aliens. And
baby.
I did get to meet the Mandalorian and Grogu yesterday in Disney. I was at Disney yesterday. I was at Universal today, Disney yesterday. I got to meet Mandalorian and Grogu. You'll get a kick out of this. So it was me and my nephew Jacob, and we got a picture. And the Mandalorian's talking about all kinds of cool Star Wars stuff, like actually saying, "Hey, have you ever fought this kind of monster?" Asking me questions, and I showed him my little Mandalorian Disney band. And then he said, maybe we'll see you down the road in the galaxy or whatever, on a different star system. And I said, I will see you in May, sir. I will see you and him in May. And the Disney representative that was helping the Mandalorian pick people out of the crowd got a chuckle out of that. So I am no longer worried. They're going to be killing.
You don't have a picture to share them?
Oh, I have pictures, but I'll share them next week. I have pictures. Of course I have pictures. Yes. Of course I have pictures. Yeah, of course I have pictures. I met the Mandalorian. What are you talking about?
2 weeks.
Next week. Oh, 2 weeks from now. Yes.
2 weeks from now, everybody.
2 weeks from now.
I have a thing.
You have a thing next week. Also opening Monday or opening Friday. I'm excited. I don't care. Everybody can piss off. I want more Scream movies. It's one of my favorite franchises, and Scream 7 opens on Friday. Also, if you're not paying attention, tickets are on sale for all of the March movies. So The Bride is already on sale. Hail Mary is also on sale. And today, Ready or Not, Here I Come is on sale.
Oh, God, I can't wait for that. That's going to be so much fun.
And that's why I was saying to you early in the green room, March is looking incredible. But thank you for joining us tonight. We'll see everybody in 2 weeks. Have a great day. Bye.
Take care.
Go see some movies and stay out of the snow.